This week's parsha is the most important parsha in the entire Torah. You may ask, why is this week's parsha the most important in the entire Torah? Well, let me tell you. The double parsha of Nitzavim Vayeilech has a renewal of the covenant and a warning against idolatry, anger and jealousy, hidden sins for Hashem and revealed sins for man, circumcising the heart, choosing life, and Moshe summoning Joshua as he takes leave of the people. But none of that is why this is the most important parsha in the Torah. The reason this is the most important parsha is because it brings the Torah full circle. Now, I know I said that last week's parsha brought the Torah full circle, and it did. But this week, it's an even bigger circle. Chapter 30 has one idea repeated over and over. You will return to Hashem. Hashem will bring you back. He will return and gather you. Hashem will bring you to the land. You shall return and listen. The idea of return, coming back, teshuvah, comes up over and over. What is this return, this teshuvah all about? What are we returning to? Now, the easy answer to this would be to point out where we are on the Jewish calendar. We're days away from Rosh Hashanah, from the Aser Yemei Teshuvah. Teshuvah, return, is in the air. We could easily say that this Parsha's focus on Teshuvah is there to remind us of what's coming, get us in the right frame of mind as we go into the high holiday season. That would make for a lovely Dvar Torah, but I wanted to share a different approach from Rabbi Ari Kahn to the question of, to what are we returning? The same chapter, chapter 30, talks about blessings and curses, life and death, good and evil. Where else in the Torah do these 6 concepts converge? Let's start with blessings. Where in the Torah do we first encounter blessings? Well, let's go way back to the very beginning. Parashah Bereshit, chapter 1, day 5. God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply. Then we get the exact same blessing on day 6, and we get blessings again on day 7 when Hashem blesses Shabbat. What about life? Well, if you go to chapter 2 of Parashah Bereshit, we find Hashem breathing into Adam, the soul of life. And we have in the center of the Garden of Eden, the tree of life. How about good? Where do we see that? Well, back in chapter 1, starting on day 3, we have, and God saw it was good, culminating on day 6 with the creation of man being tov me'od, very good. Then we have in the Garden of Eden the tree of knowledge of good and evil, combining both good and evil from this week's parsha. How about death? Where do we encounter that? Well, in the Garden of Eden we have Hashem telling Adam, but of the tree of knowledge of good and evil you must not eat thereof, for on the day you eat of it you shall surely die. There's good, evil, and death all in one verse. Finally, curses. Where do we find that? Well, we don't have to go a lot further. Chapter 3, after eating of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, we have Hashem telling the serpent, cursed are you, and telling Adam, cursed is the ground because of you. All these concepts from our parsha, blessing and curses, life and death, good and evil, are all clustered together in the stories of creation and of Adam and Eve. Rabbi Kahn argues that when our parsha talks about return, it's talking about returning to the Garden of Eden. Our parsha beautifully writes, I call heaven and earth today to bear witness against you. I've placed life and death before you, blessing and curse. Choose life. But why would our parsha have to tell us that? Who wouldn't choose life? Why would anyone choose death? Well, the answer should be obvious. Sometimes we have a serpent whispering in our ear. Adam and Eve didn't choose life. They chose to eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, bringing curses and death into the world. Chapter 30 is written in the future tense. It's talking about a distant future. It will be that when all these things come upon you, the blessings and the curse that I have set before you, and you take them to heart among all the nations to which your God has banished you, and you return to your God, and your children heed God's command with all your heart and all your soul, then God will restore your fortunes and and take you back in love. This is about a future when Hashem gathers the people back to our land and we all return to Hashem. When Hashem and the Jewish people can walk together in the land of Israel as we once walked together in the Garden of Eden. Moshe, in this week's parashah, is giving humanity a do-over. It all began in the garden, and we made the wrong choice. As the Jewish people go forward in history, towards the Messianic age, towards the Garden of Eden, we have to make sure not to make the same mistake again. At every opportunity, we need to heed the words of this week's parsha and ignore the whispers of the serpent. Choose blessings, not curses. Good, not evil. Life, and not death. That's how we do our part to move humanity into the Messianic era, back to the Garden of Eden. That is one reason why this is the most important parsha in the entire Torah. But the other reason is that the most important piece of Torah is whatever piece of Torah you have in front of you right now. Shabbat Shalom and Am Yisrael Chai.